Hello and welcome. I hope everything is working just fine. I am left on my lonesome to try out new software that we're streaming with and also to review the Miami Grand Prix. We've had a few things happen this week, and so we are a little willfully unprepared. Steven's head couldn't even fit in the helmet anymore after we went racing on the weekend. Thinks he's too good to join us here. But I'm here dedicated, and we're going to try and truck through this. And so, help me if you're in the chat. I'd love to hear from you. Hopefully, it's all working. You can hear me fine. So, the Miami Grand Prix. Actually, before I kick off on that, because we've got the V8 supercar round happening, I am going to try and stream again solo because Stephen is away. I'm going to stream solo on Friday. That's the plan. So look out for the schedule to come up, and we'll try and get that shared out on socials so that you know what's happening. But yeah, I'm going to give a bit of a preview to that supercar round, which is down in Tassie, the 440, which is a sprint round event. But yeah, just so we can fit everything in, and I can get this one done and in the can, and then we will be able to do a separate video this week because I'm just going to be dedicated, unlike Steve. Hey, where is he? Hey, where is he? All right, now Miami Grand Prix. Now, if nothing shows how to be a champion and to take the position of champion winner in your team, if it isn't defined by Oscar Piastri on the weekend during that Grand Prix, then I don't know what is. He was so focused, so dedicated. He was filthy with himself for a very poor quality, ending up in fourth, but just showed dominated Max, showed Lando and dominated him that, you know what, I'm not hanging around anymore. And we are going to sit there and just go, this championship is mine. I'm taking it. And I'm not waiting for anyone. So massive weekend. And we'll get to a little bit more because there was obviously a sprint round in the F1 at Miami. But yeah, I also should say, it's a bit rough around the edges, but we are streaming on Twitch as well. So we're doing two dual stream. We decided to kick off on Twitch. So if you suddenly found us on YouTube, but you prefer being on the Twitch platform, we will be streaming over there now with the new software. So hello to anyone that's on Twitch, and let's kick it off. Right. So the debrief, take away some of the, some of the key takes from Miami weekend. Fantastic effort from Antonelli. Managed to secure his first pole. Left George in his wake, and George seemed to be a quite brief support with a tap on the helmet. And said, well done, mate. But I don't think he was too happy about it. But Antonelli really did just smash that pole lap so well. And it just shows that he really is coming to his own. He is the lead rookie. I think he's performing the best. We've got some really great rookies this year, but Antonelli has just been doing an outstanding job. Now, racecraft, he definitely showed when the sprint race kicked off that he's just not quite there. And I'm not sure if it's because he's a rookie or if there's something else there, because his racecraft was no worse or better than I think Lando's. No, Lando... Yeah, he's shown some poor effort in his overtakes in recent weeks. He took so many laps to get past Hamilton, and then in the previous race, and then in Miami, really he just can't seem to figure out how to place his car to get past Max. And Max just seems to be able to. He's got this respect with Oscar, and Oscar attacks him, and the pass happens, and he'll still fight. But he just seems to have this notion of Oscar's not screwing around, and so I can't really do what I normally do. But with Lando, he just continues to beat him around the edges a little bit. And, poor Lando, he's not really sure how to approach an overtake and how to get it done. Now, eventually he did. It took him, I think it was 3 or 4 laps, in the end to try and get past him. And he was really struggling. And it was just very interesting to kind of watch that spectacle. after a couple of laps, Oscar just figured him out, gone past Max. He's like, right, I'm not losing this race. I'm going out there. So really dominant, and just to drive from fourth to first has been, it was an exceptional race from him, and he was awarded race, driver of the day, which was amazing because sometimes he seems to get left behind in those votes, but just a great drive. It just dominated for that race. So things that we probably need to talk about is the Ferrari strategy. Clown World. I swear they're looking in the mirror and they're starting to put their makeup on a little bit, because it is terrible at the moment. They have just fallen apart, and it has taken Hamilton a very short time to basically crack the shits with it. Now, I think the greatest comment that he had was talking about, oh, you're going to have a cup of tea while you do that. And I'm thinking, Italians don't drink too much tea, but I'm hoping that they get the message, and clearly there is still that lack of decision making process that Ferrari still don't have, and so they looked at that situation. They were trying to assess it, see how fast Hamilton was. By the time they made that choice, he'd burnt through his tires. He couldn't do anything, and it was just a waste. Really what should have happened was, hey, we're on different tire strategies. Let Hamilton through. Just get it done nice and early and let him plow on, see whether or not he could catch the people ahead. But in the end, they were fumbling around and decided to switch them, and then Hamilton couldn't make any advancement, so then they switched back. Just like classic that it's just not working at Ferrari again for the strategy. So we'll see how they go at Imola. But yeah, at the moment, I think Hamilton might have walked away from that race, starting to wonder, how can I fix this team before I leave to get some sort of competitive strategy. So at least if you're not fast, that you can actually end up somewhere at the pointy end, because they probably, with the right strategy calls, they probably could have secured themselves further up, maybe a podium, maybe not. But yeah, just who knows? We'll just see what happens on that front. Okay. Next up, let's have a quick chat about Sky Sports. And I know the memes are out there and everyone's talking about perhaps, let's not start on Danica, but the Jensen Button show is amazing to watch. There's so many clips out there of him when he rolls his eyes, there's comments straightening up what has just been said by Danica. But I wanted to talk more about the Delulu, as the young kids call it, but the delusional Sky Sports team, who just seem to, they cannot read the situation properly. And I don't know if they're doing it because there is either too much bias or they're trying to cater to the English viewers, but they're just missing the mark with Lando. Lando, again, cleaned up his media kind of discussions and interviews, but was still hinting and showing that he was just struggling, trying to figure out what he's meant to do, how he's meant to go about things. He was still mentally rattled. And it just came up time and time again where the team were kind of either kind of masking it or covering for him, or that they were actually just kicking back and going, hey, let's pretend that he's not just been destroyed by Oscar, and pretend that he actually raced really well and he got second, and what a great comeback. And yeah, they're just totally losing the plot. And I reckon another round at Imola where the same thing happens, where Oscar dominates, I am tipping that it's going to get ugly at Sky Sports. They're going to, the social media backlash is going to start coming, because it's already there bubbling away. But yeah, I think if they can't talk a bit of reality, it's going to show itself up in the social media side of things. I might save some of that for the news, but yeah, we've obviously got some Alpine news that are coming in, and it is not great news. Well, it is if you call it Pinto, of course, but yeah, if you are watching, let's make sure you post up a bit of a chat or a comment, would love to see that in there today, because it's just me, just flying solo without the butthead Steve. All right. Now Miami. Let's talk about our kind of pit lane review. Let's talk about our predictions and how we went. And yeah, this is a good one for me. Ended up on top. So we predicted the sprint pole and the sprint winner, and then we also predicted pole and first to third in the race. So let's tick off the sprint. So sprint pole was obviously Kimi Antonelli, who did a great effort, and then the sprint winner, which is probably fortunate that Steve's not here, because he called last year that Oscar was robbed and that Lando, secured the win because of the pace car, or the safety car rather. And I'm always one to go, well, it's part of racing. It sort of is unfortunate, but it happened, and he got the win. He was in the right place at the right time. But my goodness, what an absolute rort that safety car was for Oscar in the sprint race. Did everything right, muscled his way to the front, and like literally 10 seconds maybe difference in timing, and Oscar wins that race. But instead, Lando secures a sprint win through really he didn't do enough, in my opinion. I feel a bit like I'm now in the Steve camp where, damn it, this is out of control, because it just robbed Oscar and he felt it. And I did kind of predict this, where I mentioned that Lando is probably going to take the sprint win, and then he's going to be upset. So Oscar's going to be upset, and he's going to sit there and go, now I've taken that a little personally, so I'm going to make sure I come out and dominate. And that's exactly what happened. But yeah, Norris secured the win. In terms of the predictions, we had the pole. Both of us chose Norris for the pole and the win. And so we missed out on the 1 point on the pole, but we definitely got the win right. And then when we start talking about the actual race and the predictions there, Max got pole, and we predicted Piastri, so there were no points awarded there. And Max, again, outstanding in being able to, I guess, hustle the car that probably shouldn't have been in pole, but looked a lot better through Miami, through the early parts of the weekend. And just managed to secure a pole. And it was really McLaren who failed. Both Lando and Piastri failed to really secure a good quality lap, and ended up down the order. But for the race, we both picked Piastri to win, and Piastri did win. In fact, I predicted Norris would come second. Got that one. And Steve predicted Leclerc, which was not a good pick. I had Leclerc in third, and obviously Russell secured third. But I had the Ferrari up there as well, and it was just not their weekend. They were just a bit behind on speed. Mind you, everyone was behind on speed, because McLaren were the first real weekend where that speed was really dominant. And Steve had Norris in third. So I managed to secure 3 points, if not that we're probably keeping track, because I think Steve is still ahead. And Steve picked up 2 points on that. All right. Now, as I said, it's going to be a bit of a brief one. We're going to fly through a bit of this without both of us kind of being able to banter. But I've got some in our formation lap. I've got some rapid fire questions that I'll throw out both to the audience, but to myself. And the question I've asked is, in the 2025 season, is Oscar Piastri the best driver in the field? Now, we've had some outstanding races and qualities from Max, and we would arguably say Max is, the GOAT of 2025 so far. But in my opinion, Oscar is just showing that perhaps he's going to take that title before too long. Really, just the championship winning drives that he's doing So even when he makes mistakes like during the quali period for this Miami event, he's able to hustle the car, take it to the lead, and just dominate. And he really is showing both in racecraft, like his skilling in the way that he passes and sets up his car for overtakes, but also just his determination and how assertive he is, because he's a very mild-mannered person as a personality, but in the car he just seems to have the right level of aggression to win, and it's just showing that I think if he dominates again in Imola, I'm quite happy to say that he's the greatest driver for 2025 so far, because Max did a great job, but Piastri is coming really strong for that. Will Hamilton fix the strategy for the Ferrari team, or will it remain the laughing stock of the paddock? Now, I sort of feel like when Michael Schumacher and other greats in the past have gone to Ferrari, they've really had to build and sort of not manipulate, but sort of get the team in the right way around them. And that both included, obviously, the performance of the car from engine to aerodynamics, but to the strategy and to the pit wall. And I just wonder whether or not Hamilton has enough in him to get them on the straight and narrow. Now, he brings a lot of experience from his relationship with Bono and the skill that Mercedes had for many years in making the right calls strategy-wise. And I'm just hoping he's able to kind of fix it. Now, it will be too late, I think, for this year, but there's great opportunity to kind of hit the ground running, to sort of build throughout the rest of 2025, get the strategy team on point a little better, and then take it into 2026. But yeah, I think it's a huge task because we're just seeing the same results over and over again. Flashes of brilliance here and there, but the strategy team just don't seem to be able to make the right call. And we always saw Carlos was brilliant at making the call himself and overriding the team and saying, no, we're going to do this, because he knew it was the right thing to do. I just wonder whether Hamilton's going to be able to do that too. So, yeah, we'll wait and see. But, yeah, love to hear your thoughts on that one. Speaking of Ferrari, they're obviously bringing a whole bunch of upgrades to Imola. And I just wonder if it's too little or too late. It really does feel like the year has slipped away from Ferrari. If these upgrades do give them the expected results, then we should see them back a little further to the front, and we'll see Leclerc and Hamilton kind of giving it a crack. But it really does feel like this year is slipping away from them, and it does feel that we have a big challenge ahead to see whether or not they can make the most of having a driver like Hamilton in their paddock, but also can they maintain and keep Charles Leclerc, because there's going to be a point where his services could be very handy at other teams. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, but really looking forward to in a couple of weeks Imola and seeing the Ferrari upgrades to see how they go. And I guess the last one is it seems to be almost a copy and paste each week for us, but Lando with his media takes over the weekend, with his interviews, he just feels, in my opinion, that mentally he's beaten. Oscar has beaten him. He can't seem to get on or get on top of his feeling for the car properly, and he sort of feels like he can't even race or pass Max. Making the comments about where he stated, I'm damned if I do or damned if I don't, when he's trying to be too aggressive or too soft when he's passing Max. I think it just shows that he's way too concerned with what people are saying online, what the media are going to talk to him about. There is a definite reset that he needs to do to break that and shake off that fog. He unless he can do that, it's going to be the same result where he might go well and he might secure second, but if he's going to be racing Max or even Oscar, I just don't think he's going to do it in the right way. So he's going to be right. I wasn't aggressive enough, so he's going to overstep the mark, and then crashes. Something's going to happen, and he's going to cop the criticism, or he's going to be too subdued and not make the passes when he needs to secure wins or podiums. So I think it's sad to see in some regards because he really did feel like coming into this year that it was his year, and he really, I think, underestimated Oscar. And I think that is enough at the moment, unless he can find a way to reset himself. Have someone in his corner to help him to manage it a little better. I just don't see him beating Oscar at all. Okay. We've got a few things that are happening in terms of some news. One of the main ones was that the McLaren car was heavily investigated by the FIA, and their braking contraption systems, flows were all cleared. So we know that one's been bubbling away a little bit. Red Bull have been, allegedly Red Bull have been the protagonist in trying to have that reviewed and questioned. And it was kind of good to see that got through, because I guess the next phase is the flexi wings, and we want to really see that the McLaren has just nailed their aerodynamics and that these things won't impact them. And this was like a really nice hurdle to go, we're not bending rules too much that we're breaking them, but we are obviously at the cutting edge and we're getting the performance out of that. And that's really important to maintain, the championship winning team and perhaps secure the Drivers' Championship. So get that one off the table, because I guess the big news is there's been a fair bit of shake-up by our friend Flavio Briatore at Alpine, where he has rotated, and I'm sure there could be versions of rotate which aptly show what he's done to Doohan, but he has rotated that driver out. So Doohan has now stepped out of that driver's seat, and Colapinto will step in. Now, there's kind of talk, and it is in inverted commas, for the next 5 races. So they're trying to soften that blow. But it was a bit of a disappointing weekend for Doohan. We had that early on where the team stuffed up his strategy. He got pushed out and had to had to go around. His teammate got stuck on the guardrail, pushed back, which meant they missed the opportunity to set a faster lap, and that really hurt him. And it was the first time, as I put up in our socials, a little clip. It was the first time where really he was showing his frustration with what they had done, that it cost him performance. And I said in that clip that I put on Instagram that it felt like there was a bit of make or break in the result that he needed to have, because he was so upset by it and so aggressive. And so clearly there was a benchmark that if you hit this mark that you might keep your seat. If you don't, we're stepping you out. So that was really tough to kind of listen to. It did feel like there was a lot going on behind the scenes. And then, had a really disappointing kind of racing incident where got squeezed, cars were in the wrong spot, and ended up really suffering from his race. So he ended up crashing out. So it is sad news for Doohan. And there is an article that's popped up just recently where he's committing to Alpine, and I'm not really sure why he would do that, but I guess ultimately there's still an opportunity for him to get back in the car. But it's now in the hands of Colapinto, who will have the car for apparently 5 races from Imola onwards. And now if we kind of look at what the schedule is, we've got obviously Imola, which is in 2 weeks on the 18th of May. Then you've kind of got Monaco straight after that. And then you've got Spain. So he's got 3 rounds kind of back-to-back, or triple header, as they say, to find his feet. and it will be, I guess everyone's going to be watching with bated breath from the doing camp to see just how well or poorly Colapinto will go. The other news that dropped that seems a little funky is that the team principal, which is Oliver Oakes, has quit. He's been in that role for less than a year, and he basically issued a short statement saying that I have resigned, and the team has accepted that resignation. In his absence, Flavio Briatore will remain in his existing role, but also take on team principal responsibilities. Can we look forward to some spicy takes in interviews where Flavio is being pushed on some of this stuff? Yes, we can. But it was very weird, and it felt like there were quite a bit of things that weren't public that were happening in the background as to why he might be gone. But yeah, it is. It's been a tumultuous time for Alpine. They've never really. They kind of started to get some performance in certain seasons. Obviously, Danny Rick got them up there. They got rid of Cyril, and they've been replacing people and moving people around. They've changed names. They just can't really secure it at the moment to get some solid kind of consistency from the race team, and it's showing that that they've been through. Actually, in this article, they talk of all the ones in the past few years, starting with Fernando. Obviously, Oscar left because they couldn't secure the contract. Laurent Rossi, Otmar was in a great drama. That one he left. There was Alan Permain, and then Laurent Rossi, and sorry, Davide Brivio, I think his name was. So all these people from technical drivers and into the team principals that have left in recent years, it's surely showing in their results, and we just wonder how well it's going to go with Flavio at the helm. So let me take a quick break. Now I am going to check a few things here. Sorry about that. We'll just check there. I think that really covers off the sort of the main the main talking points. I know it is a bit brief than normal, but obviously it's just me solo carrying the can. And as I said, I will be doing a live stream on Friday, so look out for that. Around the same time, 7:30 to 8 p.m. I'll secure it soon. Once I can secure my own little life and make sure I've got time to get things up and running. But with Steve away for another part of the end of the weekend, into the weekend, we'll be doing some more social things. So keep an eye on those as the supercars go around Tasmania. And I'll talk more about that in the next stream, which is on Friday. So for those that have been watching, thank you very much. I'm really hoping that I probably might check there's no random messages saying, hey, there's no volume, there's no issues. So hopefully our new software is working. Welcome if you've seen us on Twitch. Thank you for joining us. For anyone else. But other than that, we look forward to seeing you on Friday. I'll see you later. Bye.